What is up, guys? This is Trypal. Welcome back to another Fortnite tutorial. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the best advanced shotgun aim tips for Fortnite Battle Royale Season 4. Now guys, what we're going to start with is zooming in. It's a basic method of shotgun aiming, so we're going to have the zoom in method, then we're going to go over pre-positioning, and then we'll go over the slow flick and the fast flick. So real quick guys, if you don't know who I am a console Fortnite player. I do a bunch of Fortnite tutorials that are advanced and that a lot of people don't go in depth on. So if you're into that kind of stuff, make sure you drop a sub if you feel the need to do so throughout the video. And yeah, with that said, let's get right into this. Alright, so first off, I want to go over sensitivity real quick. So what you guys are going to want to do is go 2 beneath your X on your Y. The reason for this is because if you want to build fast but keep good aim, good accuracy, this is what you're going to want to do. And I'll explain more about this later, but essentially I am on 9X, 7Y for that very reason. The X sensitivity is for building. I like to build fast. I can go sideways in the X-axis really fast, and so that's for building. My Y sensitivity, the Y-axis, is on 7 because I like to aim. I like to be able to keep my accuracy whenever I play this game. The other thing I want to quickly mention is that all the tips I'm giving you today can be done with any of the shotguns. Some are more effective than others. It just depends on your game style. For me, I like double pump. That's how I play the game, and so that's what I'm going to use in this video. So we're going to start off pretty basic with the tips, but as we progress through the video, I'm going to go ahead and ramp up the advanced level. So the very first tip is to basically quick scope with the shotgun every time you shoot, or every time you basically have the ability to do that. So you can't do it whenever you're jumping, but you can do it whenever you're on the ground. So what this means is, like I said, you're basically quick scoping with the shotgun. So if I'm not zoomed in, my reticle is pretty big. If I zoom in, then it concentrates those bullets to a more central location. So that's why we're doing this. And so this is very effective to use if you're just in free open, you have no mats. If you can jump and then quickly just like that, it basically concentrates your bullets in a, like I said, a more central location, and you basically increase the chance of getting a headshot. Now a really effective way to do this is to simply build a little 1x1 if this is not an advanced opponent, right? Just build this, and then they're just right in the wide open. You can simply peek out. So you should not be going for anything here except for headshots. So make sure that you're aiming for the head whenever you're doing this, and that's going to be super effective in taking down people that are maybe not as advanced as other players. Another way that the quick zoom is used is to basically go to where your character is to the left of a wall so that you can peek out on the right. The reason you do this is so that your gun pokes out on the right. The least amount of your body is poking out to where you can be shot. If I was doing this way, then I couldn't zoom in and basically peek. I'd have to expose my entire body to being shot, and that's not a good thing. So over here, if there was a guy camping in this crate, I would not want to attack from this position, because doing so would expose my entire body to being shot at. Instead, I'd want to hop around and go on the other side, and basically I would be able to just poke this way. It would look just like this. Bam. It's as simple as that. And what you're doing is making sure that you are quick zooming as soon as you go to shoot him. Now I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this segment because it's pretty simple. I'm going to go and play just a few examples just to show you guys, and then we're going to get into our next tip. So our next tip is called pre-positioning. Essentially what this is predicting where your opponent is going to be and just basically presetting your reticle where you think that it exactly is going to be. So what this is going to look like, let's say that this tree is an opponent. I think that this tree is going to be moving to the left, so I'm essentially going to place my reticle on the left and wait for him to basically cross my reticle, and when he does, I shoot. Now this tactic is not used very often. However, it does have its certain scenarios where it is applicable. Once again, lower level players or lower level opponents is what this is primarily going to be used against. But it can also be used on advanced players. It just depends on how you use it. Now, some of you guys have also told me that whenever you get in gunfights, y'all tend to choke up. You'll see yourself doing this little motion with your sticks too much, and you simply just cannot put your reticle on them. And so that's what this strategy eliminates. Essentially, you just focus on putting your reticle where you think they're going to go. Simply just hold it there calmly and just wait for them to cross the reticle and then shoot. It's actually very simple. Now I'm going to play a few clips with this. Once again, I did not want to spend a lot of time on this segment because it's pretty simple, but I do think it's important for you to see some clips, so yeah, here we go. Now guys, our next tip is the most advanced on this list. It is called the slow flick. A lot of good players use this, but not really anyone has really explained it fully. So I'm going to try to do that right now. It's going to be kind of complicated, but not too bad. Alright, so here we go. Essentially what this is I'll go ahead and show off my sensitivity one more time. I am on 9x and 7y. So this is what makes the slow flick possible. So on my Y I have 7, which is a slower sensitivity. So when I'm aiming upward, I'm aiming slower. When I'm aiming on the x-axis horizontally, my aim is really fast. So essentially I'm going to start my slow flick out by going up, because that's a slower and more controlled movement. And then as I move towards the x-axis, my sensitivity actually speeds up to 9 from 7. Right? So you're going to start off here, and then you're going to go down towards the x-axis. So your slow flick is essentially going to be a half circle or a semicircle, whatever you want to call it. It's going to look like that. It's basically this little half circle shape, and that's literally it. As long as you start on the y-axis, it doesn't matter which direction you start. So as long as you're up or down starting, and you go, so if you let's say you go down, right? You start down, you'll go up. You start up, you'll go down. So the reasons you might want this is basically on a higher sensitivity, it's harder to aim. It's harder to get the time with the building and basically get your shots on. So what I always say is that you need to build and zoom in with the shotgun, basically quick zooming. That should be your first line of defense. If that fails, that's where basically peak shotting and this little slow flick movement, that's where this comes in handy. Now the other thing I want to address about the slow flick is aiming vertically, right? So the whole premise behind me using a Y that's too lower than my X is so that I can actually aim upwards and not have to worry about missing my shot. So having my Y on 7 and my X on 10, or sorry, 9, having my Y on 7, it allows me to aim vertically. And so you'll also see me in these next upcoming clips. I won't always do the semicircle method. I'll actually use a J or an L shape, where I simply basically just kind of accelerate into the upward vertical motion. You'll see it makes more sense whenever you see it in clips, but yeah, I just want to address that there is more than one way to actually do this. Now the last aspect of the slow flick is actually a flick from the sky. It's from the above. So essentially I'm going to look down here. It's going to get a little confusing, but the only way that I can move my reticle is with the vertical axis or a diagonal, essentially. If I'm going side to side, like left and right, it's only rotating my screen. There's no movement of the actual reticle. So therefore it's actually really easy to flick whenever you're looking straight down. So there's actually going to be one clip, I believe at least one inside my clips that I'm about to show you, that'll show this off and why it's actually really effective. Now the best way to practice this is to actually mine trees. Basically just try to aim for that blue circle, and what you're going to do is go over this exact same movement that I just explained. So start on the y-axis, doesn't matter if it's up or down, and then you're going to finish on the y-axis. So you're going to go from y-axis to x-axis back to y-axis. So you're going to be making this little half circle shape. And you can complete the circle if you want to. It makes it a little bit more of a clean movement, but it's not necessary. And so I'm going to go ahead and play a few clips showing this off because you need to know how effective this really is. It's definitely something that you need in your arsenal on things that you can pull on your opponents. So yeah, here we go. And lastly, we have the fast flick. So this one is for fast sensitivity. If you are not on at least, I want to say 7, maybe 7 stretching it. Let's go with 8 sensitivity. 8 sensitivity is pretty fast. This is 9 sensitivity. You need a fast sensitivity to pull off the fast flick. And if you can't do the fast flick, it's not something to be worried about. The slow flick is the most useful and most effective and most consistent. The fast flick is really kind of more of a show-off tool, to be quite honest. But it does have its moments where it shines, where let's say that you're in a build fight and all of a sudden he's it looks like your opponent is going to be lined up with your reticle at a horizontal, basically a horizontal line, right? At that moment, then you can quickly flick over and hit him. And as you can see, I hit that tree. That's what I was aiming for. That's essentially what you're doing there. And so yeah, like I said, it's not the most effective, but it can be in those very rare scenarios where the person is basically lined up with the horizontal axis. But the slow flick, that's going to be more basically, let's say that the person is at a diagonal, the slow flick will work for that. Let's say he's above me, the slow flick's going to work for that. Even if he's at the horizontal angle, the slow flick is going to work for that. The fast flick is basically just for the horizontal line, whereas the slow flick can be used in multiple scenarios. Hopefully that did not come out too gibberish, but yeah, that's essentially that. And with that said, guys, that's basically it. I hope you did enjoy today's video, and if you did, a like would be much appreciated. It really helps me out. And also, if you have any questions, make sure you leave them down in the comment section, because I do read every single comment. And also, if you want, I have a Twitter at @Trypal_YT. You can hit me up there, and I also answer questions there. And so yeah, with that said, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.